Well, there's some socks.
I don't normally do bodies and stuff like that. But
It's a little warm in here, or am I just
I said,
It is.
running around?
I went to the funeral on Sunday and everything. So you ready for Saturday? You ready to kick off? Good, good. Listen, it was like night and day from 2021. Well, look, what did you do with your ones from last year? The last time?
Good. How you doing, Scotty? Greg said that he is. Yeah, said he got stuck in traffic on the way home from Atlanta Airport. But he's gonna be here. Be careful now. So that's the problem with your back right there. You don't know. What are we moving this stuff?
I got it on the schedule right.
Okay, it just made it in this packet instead.
Because I moved that where she could talk about it in the seven.
Okay,
We also have something for our Main Street director to talk to you about.
good stuff.
in seven.
So this is correct.
But if you need
Except
that,
Allison is not giving us the expected. That's Jonathan, obviously.
but the reference information is going to be on the work session.
Understood. So we just, whenever we go to staff, we need to look over here in this folder.
That's right. Except for this will be under
Quarterly goals.
update.
Awesome.
Blake will have something on the agenda. There's two items on there that are budget items. Money for the Cumulative Historical Society, 50,000 for playground.
Mental health thing.
Those are talked about in the
All right, why don't we go ahead and get going? The Councilman Paget is on his way, but he got delayed. He was traveling today. He'll be here shortly. So I'll call this work session of the Enterprise City Council to order. Let the record show that all members are present with the exception of Councilman Paget, who should be here during the meeting. Mr. Telos, you want to give us our quarterly goal setting update?
Absolutely. Mayor, council members, if you'll look under Vision 2025 Q2, Rucker Boulevard connectivity study discussion, I'm going to actually suggest potentially looking at that in Q3. I was approached by a developer last week who is trying to build a road and would like connectivity to Porter Lunsford Road from Rucker Boulevard. And I've asked them to sketch it out, and I don't know when I'll get that. If I get it in the next couple of weeks, obviously it's good where it is. But that's actually could be a good partnership if what they want isn't cost prohibitive for the city to participate in some version of that if they can get it cobbled together. But I haven't seen it to really talk intelligently other than to let you know before we have that discussion. I would like to have that document and see what the developer's proposing. Parks and Rec maintenance facility, again, building complete, parking and fencing still on schedule to be done this quarter. Tier 1 benefit versus Tier 2 benefit discussion, meeting work session in June. Healthcare study and ALDOT 167 signalization meeting are both complete. Daleville Avenue sidewalks are still basically at a punch list at this point on some outstanding items. City Hall still on schedule to take over June 30th, July 1st. They're planning as of today. Barry Mott said that they would have court in there on the 30th of June in the new courtroom. We should get the building substantially turned over to us by the 1st of June. And so basically from June 1st to June 30th, we're going to be moving furniture, getting IT fiber turned on and switches turned on for people to operate.
So the next 2 weeks or so, we'll have the building?
Correct. Phase 5 street projects, if you look in your package, you'll see a construction progress update. It's approximately 4 days old, but you'll see the Weeda Street Park, that parking lot's already been poured. Striping will come in the weeks ahead. Gundy Lane has been completed, and then Carver Bird Airport parking lot, that was poured this morning. And Archer Trail, if you'll look on the notes, they're relocating mailboxes to widen and resurface. So just to remind the council, this is something we're watching on the planning commission level moving forward. But that's an example of some property that was annexed into the city. And because the city owned both sides of the road at that point, that county road then became a city street. County roads aren't built oftentimes to city standards. And so one of the things that we could have done better was ask the developer as a condition of the annexation to get that road to city standards, but we did not. So now we're doing it. Again, that was done, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, but it's just something that we highlighted as something we could do better in our processes. Quarterly update on customer service experience, second meeting in June. Quarterly nuisance property update also at the second meeting in June. Our PCI study is complete, or the update to update our PCI study has been given to the council, and then we're proposing putting that into next year's budget. CDBG demo grant is, that plan has been submitted to council. Our 20 units for nuisance properties at the first meeting in June, we'll get that report. We're on schedule for that, and a lot of that. Keep in mind, we're not just talking about buildings that have come to the ground. We're actually talking about, we consider it mitigated if the property owner fixes whatever was wrong with the property. And we've had about 23 of those instances to this time. Rucker Boulevard redevelopment study has been complete and presented to the council. Our next phase on that is to fund it, so we'll have a Q3 and a Q4 goal based on that. Still have the Enterprise City Schools with Old Coppinville agreement, and then our proposal with KPS to reevaluate those 3 areas for green space, connectivity, and Rucker Boulevard to you. So that we're on pace for most of our goals, council. The big one, like I said, just recently last week with the Rucker Boulevard connectivity, I'd like to. Did this go out or does it happen?
We can hear you.
You can hear me?
I don't know if they can hear
Yeah.
you.
Okay.
Y'all can't hear him?
Yeah.
Yeah, our speakers are working.
Test. Better? Maybe I need to speak into it.
I think it's their speakers out there.
Any other questions on our quarterly goals. Oh, there it went.
Yep.
So, Mr. Jones, when was the last time that Copperfield did state something about that agreement? I know, I think last said that they were, I think, changing, some legal counsel or something.
There were, so to my understanding, the school system was looking to hire an attorney, and so they're without representation currently. At least that was the last update I got a couple weeks ago. But it's probably been 6 weeks since we delivered that proposed agreement to the superintendent.
Any other questions? All right, can y'all hear me? Okay. All right, next item on the agenda is to review our council meeting agenda, so if y'all will, flip with me. In your big packet, so of course, we'll start out like we always do, a roll call, open in prayer and pledge of allegiance, approval of the agenda and consent agenda. Consent agenda consists of work session and meeting minutes from May 6th, contract billings from Whaley Construction for $644,000. That was for the Recreation Aquatic Center. Then Lewis Incorporated for the TAP, for our old TAP project, TAP sidewalk project, $78,000. Poly Incorporated for the same TAP project, and then some wastewater treatment consulting services from Poly also. Then travel requests for municipal court, police department, and a disposal of inventory from Public Works. Anything in the consent agenda that we need to pull out or discuss during work session? All right, the next item is a presentation from Ms. Deneen Ritchie, who's going to present the Carnegie Medal, and then a request to address council for a permit from Ms. Loria Britt from the Methodist Side Community. She's not here now, is she? No.
She's not here, and her.
Is your mic on?
No, sorry.
Okay.
She's not coming. Her representative, Mr. Anthony Britt, was coming, but he had to be called away on business. I'm familiar with that.
Okay.
That
You want to brief
community
us
event.
now?
Yeah, and it's just a small, the street, I think, behind John's Chapel Church, Boykin Street. They're just going to have a activity day, just community day, food, maybe a jump house or two, some kids events, and they've cleared everything with Chief Moore, and I've spoken with him, and he's.
You good,
said
Chief?
everything's cool.
So obviously not in a high-traveled area on
No.
a Saturday afternoon, so no. Okay, good. Any questions on that? All right, then we'll have privilege of the floor and staff reports, which my understanding is we will have a few staff reports that got bumped from our work session. So, and just a housekeeping, there's some information in our work session folders that will be used in the staff report, so just heads up on that. Old business, we've got public hearing, consideration of a license request from Creekside Plaza, so that's an ABC liquor license. Then the same thing for Creekside Plaza package. I believe that's some change in ownership. And some wayfinding signage, phase 1. Does somebody want to brief us on that? Mr. Moore?
Evening, Council. This is a budgeted item. We put these out for bid on phase 1 of the wayfinding signage around town, and some of those signs are on Main Street as well. We received one bid on that, you see in your total there. And so if you're good, we're ready to get that project started on phase 1.
We're coming in around budget?
We're under budget.
Under budget?
Yes, sir.
All right, any questions on the wayfinding signage? Where are we going to, refresh our memory on this, what are we starting with?
What are we starting with? We're
Yeah.
starting with.
Because this is part of a larger plan, right?
Correct. This is phase 1. So phase 1 is somewhat around the circle, the bypass, and then some downtown as well on Main Street. So basically your locations to hospital, to, parks,
All right, any other questions on the wayfinding?
Basically the green signs you see out there right now with the directional arrows, those are getting replaced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Next item is, we're in a new business, the College Street wastewater treatment plant. This is, Glenn, you going to update us on this? This is just our annual report, I believe, for both wastewater treatment plant.
It is, the next two items, one's for the College Street and one's for the Northeast Treatment Plant. These are annual reports, and we call them MWPPs, Municipal Wastewater Pollution Prevention Reports. Basically, it's a process that ADEM uses for administrations to review their treatment plants annually. So you should have reports in there for both of them. They're pretty, obviously a little thick. It's got a lot of technical data in there. But it basically takes all the monitoring data, discharge monitoring data. It looks at sanitary sewer overflows, looks at the age of the plant, sludge disposal, staffing. It's kind of a comprehensive overview of each plant. Then it's compared to the permit limits, so and then it's totaled up into points. And the way it works, the lower the points, the better the system is performing. And this scale can go from 0 to 783 points. It depends on the condition of the plant. Fortunately for the city, the plants have been operating well every year, and this year's no exception. Both plants accumulated only 24 points, and most of that's due to age of the plants. So it's very low. The operating parameters, discharge, everything is functioning very well. No issues there. The collection system, there was no sanitary sewer overflows reported in 2024. In the past, there had been a few, and it's not unexpected to have a few, but this last year they were none reported, so that's even better. It reflects a lot of work done to the collection system over the years. So overall, both plants, excellent score. The staff and the operation of the plants in 2024 was very well, and it's reflected in these reports.
And we expect the improvements we're going to be making out there to just improve upon
It
this.
will. It'll help this going forward. A lot of the improvements are being made to basically upgrade some things that are maintenance items and getting them back up to a standard. So it'll just help solidify this report in years forward.
Okay. Any questions on wastewater treatment plant reports? All right, the next item is a request to purchase playground equipment from South Central Mental Health Children's Program.
Yes, sir. This is a budgeted item that, like you just said, the South Central Mental Health. And so we have that from Game Time Playground Equipment, Struthers Recreation. And so this, again, it was budgeted to go out there on their lot.
Any questions on this? All right, P River Historical Society Historical Markers.
Yes, sir. That is also another budgeted item that continues with the historical markers at Delville Avenue, City Cemeteries, Johns Chapel, and Red Schoolhouse.
Okay. Any questions on those? I know all right, then the next we've just got 2 ABC license request introductions, and then that'll wrap up our meeting with mayor's report and council member comments. Is everybody good with this agenda? Any additions, deletions? All good?
I'm sorry, I got one.
Go ahead.
Blake, can you tell me what the markers, where are those markers again?
Delville Avenue, City Cemetery, Johns Chapel, and the Little Red Schoolhouse.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, flip with me back to the work session agenda. We have a request to go into executive session regarding real estate and economic development from Mr. Tullos. This is, we expect it'll take about 30 minutes, and we don't think we will discuss anything when we get back, but we'll go directly into our council meeting at 6 o'clock. So any questions on this before I entertain a motion? All right, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session.
So move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to go into executive session. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Like I said, we'll be back in about 30, 35 minutes, and we'll reconvene in our regular council meeting at 6 o'clock.
Street, they enjoyed it. Jamaica. Said they could have just stayed there.
Said, what? I'm sitting about it.
I couldn't do
I'm
it.
starting walking now. I got to get my routine. That thing won't be down, climbing the hills.
I prayed for you. I was going to pray for you because I know it was bad in Colorado, just that walking sucked.
So I'm with Rob downtown, trying to keep myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey,
I'm like, really?
Is Councilman Johnson in the building? Councilman Johnson? We got dinner cooking. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I've got 6 o'clock. I will call this meeting of the Enterprise City Council to order. Let the record show that all members of the council are present. If you would, please stand with me for our opening prayer and pledge of allegiance. Do we have Reverend Matt Jordan here this evening?
Let's pray. Father, we're so thankful for all that you do for us through the city of Enterprise as we continue to be a city that is set on progress and continuing to make progress as a family and make progress as a community and make progress as we are a city that is set on continuing to improve each and every day. May this time together this evening be a time that can be committed to such progress. Bless our city, bless our community, and bless our leadership. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen. Please join me for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, council, you should have your agenda in front of you that we discussed in the work session prior to this meeting. I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda of the meeting as submitted.
I move to approve the agenda of the meeting as submitted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll now consider the consent agenda. All matters listed within the consent agenda have been distributed to each member of the council for review, are considered to be routine, and will be enacted by one motion of the city council with no separate discussion. If separate discussion is desired on an item, that item may be removed from the consent agenda and placed on the regular agenda by request of a member of the city council. I'll now call for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I'll now call upon Mayor Cooper and Deneen Ritchie, who will present the Carnegie Medal to Marvin Pickney on behalf of U.S. Representative Barry Moore. Mayor Cooper, Ms. Ritchie.
First, I would like to say good evening to everyone. Of course, we already have Mr. Pickney up here. You may recall that the Fire Chief, Christopher Davis, and I previously honored Mr. Pickney with a plaque and a key to the city for his heroic actions in September 2022. Mr. Pickney, a retired Army Command Sergeant Major, who was in his garage when he saw flames coming from a neighbor's home on Bellwood Road. Without hesitation, he called 911 and rushed to the house to rescue Mary Griffin and her caregiver. He lifted a bed to make room for Miss Griffin's wheelchair, then with the help of a neighbor, assisted both women in escaping through a window. They were taken to the hospital and later released. Mr. Pickney, your courage and your quick thinking made a tremendous difference that day. Your selfish actions are truly inspiring. While we deeply admire Mr. Pickney's bravery, we also remind our residents that in most emergencies, the safest course of action is to call 911 and wait for trained professionals to arrive. Every situation is different, and your safety is just as important. That said, tonight we are proud to announce that Mr. Pickney once again is being honored, this time with the prestigious Carnegie Medal, a national recognition for extraordinary heroism. At this time, I would like to invite Ms. Ritchie to come forward and share more about this distinguished award. Ms. Ritchie. Okay, all right.
Thank you. It's my honor to be here tonight. And I wanted to tell you a little bit about what the Carnegie Hero Medal is. The Carnegie Hero Fund Commission was established in April 15th of 1904 by Andrew Carnegie. The Carnegie Hero Fund Commission was created to recognize outstanding acts of selfless heroism performed in the United States and Canada. The commission awards the Carnegie Medal to those who risk death or serious physical injury while saving or attempting to save the lives of others. The single event that stimulated Mr. Carnegie to organize the fund was the Harwick mine disaster near Pittsburgh in January of 1904, which claimed 181 lives. The victims included an engineer and a miner who went into the stricken mine in a valiant attempt to rescue others. The tragedy and the sacrifices so moved Mr. Carnegie that he promptly took action on this and then novel idea of honoring and helping heroes of civilization. I do not expect to stimulate or create heroism by this fund, Mr. Carnegie wrote, knowing well that heroic action is impulsive. But I do believe that if the hero is injured in his bold attempt to serve or save his fellows, he and those dependent upon him should not suffer financially. The Commission's deed of trust established a $5 million fund to recognize persons in peaceful vocations who act to preserve or rescue their fellows. Mr. Carnegie specified that each hero to be recognized or the next of kin was to receive a medal reciting of the heroic deed it commemorated and carrying the biblical quotation, "Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends," from John 15:13. The commission was empowered to make monetary grants as well, given to the heroes or the next of kin in cases of death. The grants include continuing support, scholarship assistance, and death benefits. Nearly $45 million has been given to more than 10,000 awardees of their survivors over the life of the fund. Rescue acts brought to the Commission's attention are carefully evaluated, and those that appear to have award potential are then investigated and reported to the Commission for decision. To bring an act of heroism to the attention of the Commission, you can visit the Commission online at carnegiehero.org. And at this time, we have the Carnegie Medal. And it's engraved on the back with your name and exactly what you did and thank you.
So I told her I'd at least use 30 seconds. For the record, when I got the key to the city, I was wearing blue. Today, I'm wearing red to honor our fire chief, Chief Chris Davis. All right, I am not a hero. I'm not. I'm just an everyday American that saw somebody who needed help. Don't call me hero. I'd rather for my daughter or my granddaughter to call me granddad or pop, my wife to call me husband, and my son to call me dad. But I'm not a hero. But I'd do it again. Even though you just gave a message saying don't do it. I'm not as smart as I look. All right, but I just want to thank my family right quick, my wife Ariane, my granddaughter, my uncle who came from Anniston, Alabama, retired Sergeant First Class Pinckney, and my son who's attending Alabama State University right now. Love y'all. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Family's coming. All the way up, all the way up.
Get your beautiful picture. Come on up there. It would be great.
Thank you, Ms. Ritchie and Mayor, and certainly Mr. Pinckney, and I think I can speak for the entire council, mayor, staff, and all the residents of the city of Enterprise that you are, in fact, a hero, and thank you for your service to our country and certainly your heroic acts that day. All right, next item on the agenda is a request to address the council and a permit request from Ms. Gloria Britt from Methodist Side Community. So my understanding is Ms. Britt is not here, is she? Okay, Ms. Rich spoke to us in the work session before, so they're representing Methodist Side Community. They've requested to address the council to obtain a permit for this, for the information you see here for the Methodist Side Community Fest. We've already gotten a report on that and got Chief's blessing, so I'll entertain a motion to approve the permit request as submitted.
I move,
Go ahead.
excuse me. I move to approve the permit request as submitted, sorry.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the permit request as submitted. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, we'll now have privilege of the floor. This is the part of the meeting where anyone in attendance tonight who wishes to address the council may do so for 3 minutes. If there is a public hearing on the agenda for the topic you are concerned with, please wait until after that public hearing opens to address the council. If they choose, staff, mayor, and council will respond to your comments during the appointed times later in the meeting. Repetitive, disruptive, and disparaging comments will not be tolerated. If you are found out of order, your privileges can and will be revoked. Does anyone wish to address the council at this time? Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. My name is Jeff Turner.
If you could, please speak into the microphone. Thank you.
Yes, sir. My name is Jeff Turner. I live at 111 Pinehurst Drive. And people cutting across our street from Sylvan to the Circle, they speed like crazy. Me and my granddaughter have almost been hit several times by speeding cars. And it's my wife's even bought signs to put up children at play. The signs got removed after a couple of days by someone we don't know who. We've tried everything to get people to slow down, so we'd appreciate it, like some speed bumps or something in that area. It's especially heavy during right after school. Those teenagers cut across there to get to the Circle, or they cut back across to get to town. And then in the evening time, it gets really busy too. Right after work, people cutting across to get to town or back to the Circle. So speed bumps, sidewalk, more signage, whatever you could do, we'd be grateful for.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Turner.
Yes, sir.
Does anybody else wish to take privilege of the floor? Yes, sir.
Yes, my name is Reverend Dr. William T. Brooks III. The reason I'm here this afternoon, I have a situation here about a neighbor. The neighbor behind me is shining his camera lights into my home. He's been doing it ever since the 4th of May, and I called the police, and the police has been telling me to call in the morning. So I called in the morning, and what happened, my phone was on silence, and the policeman, he called, and I couldn't reach him. And so what happened on he did it again on the 18th of May. And so what happened, I couldn't get the policemen to come at that time. And so I called back to the police department, and I was talking to one of the receptions at the police department, and I said, well, I guess what I do, I had a cousin that died, and I said, well, maybe I can talk to the mayor, Mr. Cooper, but I didn't see Mr. Cooper. So I had to take my wife to an eye appointment, and then I had to go to my grandson's graduation in Hartford. And so I lost out on that, and I said, well, maybe I'll just go to the city council. And I said, I don't know who my city councilman is. Maybe I get a chance to talk to him about it. I live out on Legacy Farm, and the guy lives on Stone Edge. He's a soldier. I tried to talk to him. First, he had his wire, electrical wire, over on my fence, and I talked to him about that. He removed it because I had to go to the city engineers. City engineers put a note on his door and told him, say, you got your wire on Mr. Brooks's fence, because the neighbor that I had before was Sergeant Major, he was a Hispanic guy, and he retired and went back to Arkansas, and me and him got along real good, and so he moved the wire. But now what he's doing now is shining his lights
camera lights on the edge of the house there, because I have the same camera lights on each side. And you can adjust those lights, and they are sharing down in the yard. And if anybody come in your yard, you can see who's ever coming in your yard. And he claimed that he can't adjust them. And I told him this. I said, you need to get ADT or go back to your realtor or somebody who you're renting from to adjust those lights. And he claimed that he couldn't do it. So I told him that's why he had to go to ADT or somebody back to his rental. And I don't know his name, but he's a young guy. I know I'm old enough to be his father because I got children about the same age of him. And me, I'm 68 years old. I'm a senior citizen, if you want to call me that. I feel young, but at that, usually when you get somewhere around there, they say you senior citizen. And I was walking around in my house. I had my undergarments on, and so forth. Look like you can walk around, in there. And so my wife said, hey, he's shining them again. And I said, oh my gosh, this young'un. I said, I don't know about this young'un. You know what I'm saying? And so I didn't want to really call the police on him. I want to try to be a neighborly to him, want to be nice to him. Because the thing is, I got children his same age. And so what I did, I just, that's why I'm here tonight, this afternoon, to talk to my county commissioner, somebody to try to talk to this young man, because I don't want to mess his career up or nothing like that, and so on.
All right, Reverend Brooks, we'll certainly look into that for you.
Okay, I want to know who my county commissioner, too. I don't know who he is.
So you said Legacy Farms?
Yeah, I live at Flat Rock Drive.
So
Enterprise.
we're city council, but I would be your city councilman.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Turner Townsend's my name.
Okay.
I'd be
Thank-
happy to talk with you.
Okay, thank you,
Yes, sir.
Councilman Tanner.
Any other members of the public present this evening that wish to take privilege of the floor? All right, seeing no one, we will move to staff reports. I know we've got a few staff reports. Who would like to go first? Ms. Love?
So you have a couple of things in your packets.
It's
The
in your
first
work
one
session packet.
looks like this. It's time clocks. So these are the time clocks that would implement with Munis, where the employees would clock in and out on these clocks, and they would go straight into the system. We've had our key fobs tested with these clocks, and they will work with them. So we wanted to put that in there for you to take a look at. The next thing that is in your packet is some pricing information from Accurate Background. We currently do pre-hire screenings. This company would actually give us a more comprehensive program than what we currently have. So you do have that pricing in your packet to look at. And the last thing is a poster for an employee care line when they can contact HR. These would hang with the state and federal labor law posters that will go at each location. Is there any questions on any of that?
Does anybody have anything?
You said it's something in the packet about pricing, Ms. Love?
Yeah, on the, right after
For
that.
Accurate Background?
Okay.
Right after that poster, the Caroline poster, there should be pricing.
The time clock pricing is on this first page, but then this packet is the pricing for background checks.
So I assume, and this may be a question for you, Jonathan, are we going to need council action on this?
Yes, sir. So, council members, the thought here is to introduce this to you, get a chance to look at it, over the next few weeks. But I would anticipate bringing contracts for this. One, the Accurate Background screening, and then subsequently to purchase the time clocks. Integration with Munis will be a huge upgrade and a time saver for our staff, and it will prevent a lot of human error that currently exists.
So currently, all over town, we've got different methods of clocking in, I assume.
We do, and we have to download that data from those time clocks and then manually key that into the payroll system for all 350-plus employees.
So this will
This will
automate
cut
all
that
of
out completely.
Completely cut that out, yeah. Okay, sounds like a good move. All right, any other questions for Ms. Love? All right, thank you.
Okay.
Hey, can you hear me?
We can.
Hi, finally nice to meet all of you council members. Just to give a little preface of what I'm coming with for Main Street Enterprise is that last year we were awarded a $25,000 grant to be used for a crosswalk project. This was a pedestrian crossing buttons to improve our downtown safety. This project must be completed by June 30th of this year. All funds must be spent, no remaining task, or we are ineligible to apply for next year's $25,000 grant through Main Street, Alabama. Losing this opportunity for $25,000 would be a major blow to Main Street Enterprise. It's not often that you have that kind of money in your lap. But we, unfortunately, at the end of last week, I found out that there are some major delays with that project. There were some approval processes that prevented us from being able to reach that June 30th date. And so upon me reaching out to Main Street, Alabama, I was given a solution that we could switch gears. We could potentially pursue a new project which would be completed by that June 30th date. And we would have to, again, use that full $25,000 to be eligible to apply for next year's $25,000 grant. And so in that, we did some brainstorming with Main Street, Alabama, and in this packet that I believe Jonathan gave you, it should outline a little bit of what we were speaking about. The most feasible option was a beautification effort providing planters to our sidewalks downtown. These planters are self-watering, they visually mesh with our sidewalk installments, and they're an excellent source of greenery and a pop of color and cohesiveness to our downtown. It would be a very quick turnaround for a beautification project, which would be a visual impact for our downtown, as well as something that's attainable in that very short time frame. All the costs of this, including the upkeep for the first year, which is the watering, the maintenance, everything involved with these planters, would be paid through the grant. The upkeep would be hired out to a contracted landscaper. There would be no city manpower involved. There would be no Parks and Rec needing to upkeep this. We know that they're spread thin. We know that they do so much for us already, and we don't want to put any additional burden on Parks and Rec to handle this. And so that's why we, in this packet, have budgeted out to allow this to be through a contracted service. And I will make a side note about that. At the time of me printing this out this morning, we didn't have the full scope. I called Main Street, Alabama, and they have allowed us to, within that grant, apply funds for a prepayment of the first year of upkeep. So the number would be a little bit different. Instead of us getting 30 planters, it would be something more in the 17, 18 range, and then it would also include that upkeep in the total funds. So for the first year, there would be no city involvement, no city money, nothing. It would all be covered by that grant. And in using this funding for our Main Street goals, this would allow us to use the future funding. Hopefully, if we get this done by June 30th, we would be able to apply for that next year's $25,000 grant and use it for that crosswalk park project or something related to that. Jonathan?
All right, does everybody understand what's going on here? Do we need to act on that?
So I believe at the next council meeting, just out of an abundance of caution, I think to accept that grant, it was specific in what the grant was for that the council voted on.
Okay.
So I would recommend at the next council meeting, if you wanted to move forward with that and we're okay with this plan, to amend it to, what the actual grant's going to be used for.
Yeah, is everybody comfortable with that? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Any other staff reports? Mr. Mott?
Yes, sir. I just want to let you know, I talked to Mr. Jeff Turner. They talked about the 111 Pinehurst Drive. We've had about 3 requests this week on pedestrian crossings or children at play signs. So Shannon and I will go out and look at that and with him, and we will follow back up with that gentleman about location of those signs on that road. I don't have a problem with putting up some more signage to remind people to slow down. But we have several across the city, and I just want to let you know we'll take care of that.
Barry, when you guys go out, give me a holler.
Yes, sir.
Because I was out there today, we talked with him.
I'll be glad to,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you.
Any other staff reports? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to old business. First item on old business is a public hearing and consideration of an ABC license request for Creekside Plaza. Call for a public hearing prior to consideration of a request from VP 91A LLC, doing business as Creekside Plaza, for a retail beer and retail wine off-premise only license located at 2200 Ozark Highway, Suite G. So this hearing is now open. Is there anyone here that wishes to speak for or against this application? And seeing no one, we will close the hearing, and I'll call for consideration of the ABC license request.
I move to approve the ABC license request as submitted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the ABC license request as submitted. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We will now have a public hearing in consideration of an ABC license request for Creekside Plaza Package. I call for a public hearing prior to consideration of a request from VP 91A LLC, doing business as Creekside Plaza Package, for a retail alcohol package store license located at 2200 Ozark Highway, Suite H. This hearing is now open. Is there anyone here that wishes to speak for or against this application? Seeing no one, I will now close the hearing and call for consideration of the ABC license request.
I move to approve the ABC license request as submitted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the ABC license request as submitted. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We will now review and consider bid recommendations for wayfinding signage Phase 1. I introduce and call for consideration of a recommendation from bid purchasing agent Barry Mott on behalf of Blake Moore, Director of Community Services and Recreation, to award bid requisition number 2025-07 to Blink Marketing Incorporated, doing business as Blink Signs, for Phase 1 wayfinding signage and installation in the total bid amount of $81,380.39. No other bids were received. Do I hear a motion?
I move to award the bid requisition number 2025-07 to Blink Marketing, Inc., doing business as Blink Signs, in the total bid amount of $81,380.39.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to award this bid requisition. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving to new business, we'll now review and consider Resolution 05-2025, the MWPP at College Street Wastewater Treatment Plant. I introduce and call for consideration of Resolution 05-2025, providing for the adoption of the Municipal Water Pollution Prevention, which is the MWPP Annual Report, for MPDES permit number AL 00200036 for the College Street Wastewater Treatment Facility. The report sets forth actions and schedule necessary to maintain effluent requirements contained in the permit and to prevent the bypass and overflow of raw sewage within the collection system or treatment plant. Do I hear a motion?
I move to adopt Resolution 05-2025.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 05-2025. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We will now review and consider Resolution 05-2025A, the MWPP Northeast Wastewater Treatment Plant. Introduce and call for consideration of Resolution 05-2025A, providing for the adoption of the Municipal Water Pollution Prevention Annual Report for NPDES permit number AL 0061 for the Northeast Wastewater Treatment Facility. The report sets forth the actions and schedule necessary to maintain effluent requirements contained in the permit and to prevent the bypass and overflow of raw sewage within the collection system or treatment plant. Do I hear a motion?
Move to adopt Resolution 05-2025A.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 05-2025A. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We will now consider a request to purchase playground equipment for South Central Mental Health Children's Program. I introduce and call for consideration of a request from Blake Moore, Director of Community Services and Recreation, to authorize the purchase of playground equipment for the South Central Mental Health Children's Program at a total cost of $50,000 from Struthers Playground Equipment. Do I hear a motion?
I move to approve the purchase request as submitted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the purchase request as submitted. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We will now review and consider a funding request from P River Historical Society regarding historical markers. I introduce and call for consideration of a request from Blake Moore, Director of Community Services and Recreation, for the approval of $15,000 in funding to the P River Historical Society to purchase historical markers. Do I hear a motion?
I move to approve the funding request as submitted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the funding request as submitted. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next, we will introduce an ABC license request for Legacy Travel Center. I introduce a request from Bovar Management, LLC, doing business as Legacy Travel Center for a retail beer off-premise only license located at 2780 Neil Metcalf Road, Suite B. I'll now call for a public hearing to be held at the regular meeting scheduled for July 3rd, 2025. No action tonight.
June.
I'm sorry, June 3rd, 2025 is when that public hearing will be. Thank you. I introduce an ABC license request for Legacy Package Store 2. I introduce a request from Bovar Management, LLC, doing business as Legacy Package Store 2 for a retail alcohol package store license located at 2780 Neil Metcalf Road, Suite B. I call for a public hearing to be held at the regular meeting scheduled for June 3rd, 2025. No action on that tonight either. Mayor, do you have a report?
Thank you, Mr. President. Last week, we had the opportunity to attend the Army Aviation Mission Solutions Summit in Nashville, along several representatives from the City of Enterprise. This summit was an incredible opportunity to network and to showcase not just the City of Enterprise, but the entire Wiregrass region. The theme this year, Army Aviation, ready to meet tomorrow's challenges today, reflect the vital role of Army Aviation plays in our national defense. Among the keynote speakers was Major General Claire Gill, the Commanding General of Fort Novosel. He spoke about the future of the Army Aviation and what it means to our area. His remarks underscored what many of us already knew, that the future is bright. There's a tremendous potential for growth, innovation, and economic impact right here in the Wiregrass. Our proximity to Fort Novosel and our strong ties to Army Aviation make our region uniquely positioned to support the evolving needs of the military and its partners. Throughout the summit, we were able to make meaningful connections, ones that will help us both retain existing businesses and attract new opportunities to our area. I'm excited about what's ahead, and I'm proud the role Enterprise continues to play in supporting our nation's defense and strengthening our local economy. Back here at home, we had a very busy weekend with the Suite 4 Vets Ruck March, Chef Showdown, peak season kickoff at the Farmers Market, military mutts and music on College Street, and the annual Piney Woods Arts Festival at Enterprise State Community College. There's always something going on in Enterprise, and I encourage our citizens to get out, get involved in our community. We have much to look forward to as well. As we prepare to celebrate the class of 2025 this Thursday, I want to make a moment, I would like to take a moment to congratulate our graduates and their families on reaching this important milestone. We are especially proud to welcome home U.S. Senator Katie Britt, who will serve as this year's keynote speaker at Enterprise High School. It's an honor to have one of our own return to inspire the next generation as they prepare to take their next step. With the large crowd expected, we encourage everyone planning to attend to arrive early, allow extra time for parking and seating. After the ceremony, please be patient and courteous as we work together to ensure a smooth and safe exit for all. Let's make this a joyful and memorial evening, one that honors the hard work and the achievements of our students while keeping the safety of our community a top priority. Congratulations to the class of 2025. The future is bright, and we are proud of you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Ms. Rich?
Thank everyone for coming out tonight, and thank you, Reverend Brooks and Mr. Turner, for coming and addressing us this evening. Certainly want to commend Mr. Pinckney in his absence. He definitely is a hero, and want to congratulate our seniors on their accomplishments. It's 33 years ago that I graduated from Enterprise High, and I remember it quite well. So kudos to our graduates and their families. Y'all have a good night.
Mr. Goolsbee?
Well, I think Ms. Sonia covered it well, but I'd like to thank everybody for coming tonight, and y'all have a good evening.
Mr. Paget?
I think I could just ditto most of what Ms. Rich said, except it's only been 30 years for me since I graduated from Enterprise High School.
Well, I won't tell you how many years it's been for me, so we'll just go past that. Well, thank you for coming tonight, and thank you for all our community citizens that are watching us online. Thank you, Reverend Brooks and Mr. Turner. Thank you for coming out with your concerns, and we're going to talk again about that. Command Sergeant Major Pinckney, I've known him for long years with the VFW, and he is a superhero in my books. One thing, too, is I'd like to thank Chief Davis. We graduated 10 new volunteers in our community emergency response team Saturday. They come back this next Saturday, do their hands-on piece with the firefighters out there, and we'll get the certificates and bag. But we couldn't make that program happen without our fire department, police department, when they come out there too for us, and our EMS folks. So thank you so very much for that. And something I was going to say, and I wrote it down earlier, and when Mr. Turner just, with his thing about driving, school is getting out. Kids are going to be in those neighborhoods. The neighborhoods, residential areas, most of them are 25 miles an hour. Please watch out for the students out there, the kids. They want to be outdoors now. They're going to be playing at our parks. So just drive responsibly out there. Drive, watch out for everyone out there. A lot of our streets don't have sidewalks, so there's people going to be walking at nights when the weather's nice. So just take your time out there while you're driving around, whether it's on a residential area or anywhere around town. Be careful, be safe. We don't want to lose any more citizens. So God bless and have a good night.
Yeah, so I think it's been covered, except Senator Britt and I graduated 25 years ago, so I think that puts me as the youngest up here, not to rub it in or anything, but anyway. So we are adjourned until 5 o'clock, Tuesday, June 3rd at 5 o'clock, and immediately following that at 6 o'clock will be our regular meeting. That's on June 3rd. We'll see you then. Thank you.